All rise. We will obey. The International Criminal Court is now in session. L'Audiència del Cort Penal International, 8 of word. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Thank you very much. Court officer, the case, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The situation in the Republic of Kenya in the case of the prosecutor versus William Samuel Ruto and Joshua Arap Sang. ICC 0109-0111. We are in open session.
Thank you. Appearances.
Good morning, Mr. President. Your Honors, for the prosecution, Mr. Anton Steinberg, Senior Trial Attorney. Right behind me, Mr. Lorenzo Pugliari, as well Mr. Pierre Belbenoit, and our case manager, Grace Go. I am Lucio Garcia for the prosecution.
Mr. Nderitu, I need to announce that we have granted your request to appear for the testimony of this witness on behalf of the victims. We will release our written reasons later. Put your appearance on the record, please.
I thank you, Your Honors. I am appearing for the victims, and I'm assisted by Mr. Ochlon Arantetseg from the Office of the Public Counsel for Victims, and my case manager, Mr. James Mawira, and our intern, Amanda Wilmot. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honors. Mr. Sang is present, and his term remains the same. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, Your Honours, good morning. Mr. Ruto, who is present in court, is represented by Mr. Esafal, Mr. David Hooper of Queen's Counsel, Dato Shamla Alagendra of Counsel, and Ms. Grace Sullivan, Mr. Andrew Mora, and myself, Karim Khan.
I understand there is a duty counsel for witness 658.
Yes, Mr. Bourgeois, duty counsel appointed in conformity with Rule 74.10 for assisting the witness.
Thank you very much. Some matters for record, matters of procedure. During the testimony of the last witness, there was a bit of din in the courtroom, especially towards the end of it. That shouldn't happen again. We understand that counsel may have their views on whether or not witnesses testifying correctly or according to the truth, but counsel must keep their views to themselves, either in terms of the voice, indication of those views, or body language. Similarly, I've also noticed from time to time that when I'm making rulings, I see nodding of the heads. That also shouldn't happen. I don't need approval of counsel that they like what I'm ruling on. So let's just keep it as professional as possible. Now, we will go to the private session to attend to some matters connected to this witness.
All rise. We will obey. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Thank you very much. I note that we are in open session. Quick direction on housekeeping matters in light of the time frame we're facing involving the testimony of this witness and the next one we're looking at also taking in during this session. The Chamber will direct the parties to make written submissions on the in-court protective measures for the next witness after this, so that we can do it in terms of in an oral ruling. If we can make those submissions by the end of the week or middle of next week, I think middle of next week should be a good time frame to make the written submissions from both sides. We will go into private session and deliver a ruling on the requests or the submissions we had on the two items we took submissions on in private session earlier. Private session, please.
All rise. We will be. Please be seated. Bapak siswa.
Thank you very much. Mr. Garcia, for the record, to do the Rule 66.3 and 74.1 advisories.
Yes, Your Honor. Both were done during the witness preparation session.
Thank you. Please, the solemn declaration to the witness.
I will declare that I will speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you very much, witness, and welcome back welcome to the court. I will give you an advisory that I've given to every witness who has appeared before us, and I begin that advisory by telling the witness that this courtroom belongs to the witness. That means this courtroom belongs to you, as well as it belongs to anybody else in here, the judges and the lawyers. And the reason I say that is because I want you to feel completely at ease during your testimony. Do you understand? Can you come closer?
Okay.
Thank you. That's much better. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for coming to join us in our work, in our inquiry about what happened at the end of 2007 and 2008 in Kenya during the post-election violence. The way we get about the work is through questions of lawyers. There'll be lots of questions beginning with the lawyer or the side that called you. That would be the prosecutors. They will begin asking you questions in examination in chief. And when they finish, then the defense lawyers will take turns on this side. Mr. Sang's team, represented by Mr. King Katwa and and his colleague, I believe it will be Ms. Bousman in this case. I don't know if it's Ms. Bousman that will be asking you questions, but all right. We'll be asking you questions, and then next to them would be the lawyers for Mr. Ruto and Mr. Ken, leading the team, who would be asking you questions. He nods. And the Victims' Counsel, Mr. Nderitu, has requested for us to allow him opportunity to ask you some questions as well. We have not made a decision on that. We will consider our decision, but if we do grant it, it means he will also ask you questions. The part of all that is that there'll be a host of questions coming to you from all these lawyers, and from time to time the judges may also have a question or two to ask. In all of this, I would urge you to stay relaxed, concentrate on the question that is being asked you, understand it. The key to the whole thing is understand the question that is being asked of you, one at a time. Once you understand a question, just answer that question briefly, and then as briefly as possible, but yet giving the answer you had in mind, or you have in mind to give, and then wait for the next question to come. One question at a time. It is often the case that there may be a little pause between the completing of your answer and the next question coming to you. That's all right. That's normal. We want that pause to be there. That's something we call a 5 seconds pause. It's to enable the interpretation to finish from the last person who is speaking. For instance, as I'm speaking now, what I'm saying is being interpreted by interpreters. And as I finish talking, the interpretation may continue for a little while without me knowing and you knowing that. That also happens when there is question and answer between the witness and the lawyer. When the witness finishes answering a question and the lawyer pauses, he's pausing because he wants to have the interpretation happening in the background to finish before he asks you another question. And it may be that when that happens to a witness who is unfamiliar to what's going on, might think that he or she has not answered enough and to the answer given, and they may continue talking some more. Try to avoid that. The point I make there is answer your question briefly, stop, there's a pause of 5 seconds at least, and then the next question will come to you. Just like that, we'll proceed and keep going. You are not to consider that because you're a witness, you must know everything or remember everything. If you do not know, if you don't have an answer, just say so. Say, I don't know. If you do not remember, say you don't remember. The lawyers will know how to come at the matter again if they believe that maybe they have not made themselves clear, or for some reason they believe that there's some more opportunity to allow you to remember or to know or remember what you know. So they have a way of coming again at it, but that's not to say that you must feel that you must remember everything at all times. As I say, if you remember, you answer the question briefly and to the point. If you do not remember, say so, and we can move on. We are interested in what you perceived as a witness. That is what you yourself saw with your own eyes, or what you heard with your own ears. That go to the facts in the case. Try to avoid guessing at the answer if you don't know it. Also try to avoid giving an answer on the basis of what somebody else told you without making clear that that is what is going on. So if it is a case that the information, the answer you're giving to the court is based on information you heard from somebody else, try and make that clear. But we'll try to avoid too much of the testimony being on the basis of what somebody else said. We call that hearsay. There may be times when it may be important for the person asking you the question to bring out the facts that it is something that you heard from somebody. It may be important from time to time, but unless that is the desire of the person asking the question, we will try to avoid what we call hearsay from you. The prosecutor had requested some protection measures for you, and part of the protection measures requested was that you had to testify entirely in private session. We rejected that request. We believe that that should be part of the testimony that you can give in public, because there are some parts of the testimony that will not identify who you are. We give protection measures to witnesses who testify primarily to avoid the witness being identified. That means their names of relatives, that sort of thing. We do not want to have that sort of information given in public for protected witnesses. We also do not want witnesses testifying in the public session to certain unique events that either they only witnessed, or that they're amongst a very limited number of people who were there and witnessed that event. And in the course of time, the witness may have relayed that information to somebody else, so that if the witness is now testifying in public about that unique event, that somebody else, the witness might have told the story, will then say, it is this person that is testifying. We will try to avoid that, and it is for information, matters like that, that we go into private session. It's not to say you're not to talk about those things. We still want you to talk about them, but we will talk about them in a manner that will not identify who you are, and then we go into a private session for that sort of testimony, so that members of the public don't get to hear about it. But we try not to have witnesses testifying in private session about something that anybody else could have testified to, something of general knowledge. For example, who was the president of Kenya in 2007, things like that. Anybody can answer that sort of question. Or what political parties were vying for election during that. Anybody can answer that question. Or did violence happen at certain in Kenya at that time? Anybody can answer questions like that. So for that sort of information, we will not be receiving them in the private session, as I said. But information that will necessarily identify you, those we will be doing in private session. In addition to letting you know why we rejected the request to have you testify entirely in the private session, I think it's also important that you know to tell you what I've just told you about the need to protect your identity, because it also bears some relation to what I told you earlier about listening to a question, understanding it, and just answering that question. And that relationship is in this way. The lawyer who's asking you the question either knows the answer he expects, because they have a witness statement you might have given to the prosecution in the past. Both sides have it. So they may ask you a question on the basis of that statement, knowing what they expect the answer to be. And they know that it is safe to ask you that, because perhaps you will tell them who the president was in 2008. But if you don't answer that and you start answering something else about how you knew who the president was in 2008, that other information you're given might be one that identifies who you are. That is, for that reason, that it's important that you listen just to the question and answer just that question. If you feel that maybe there's something else you want to add, that all along next questions have not allowed you an opportunity to add that, then you can let me know. And if it is something that would identify you, an answer that may identify you, we will go into private session. You can also tell us that, look, I'd like to answer this question more fully, but if I answered it more fully, it may identify me. Can we go into private session? You make requests like that, we will accommodate them. Do you understand?
Understand.
Thank you very much. We have already told you about the need to observe the 5 seconds pause. We call it 5 seconds pause between two speakers. The person asking you a question finishes. You wait for about 5 seconds so that the interpretation in the background could be completed. And then after 5 seconds, you start answering the question. We just count 1 to 5 in your mind at a moderate pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you have your 5 seconds, and then you start answering. It is very important because it allows the court reporters without whom we cannot do this work successfully, to record what you're saying, and interpreters as well, so that allows them time to interpret and record the offense, because they're not inside the body of the courtroom, inside the well of the court, as we say. They are in closed compartments on the sides, and the only way they can hear what's going on down here is through the microphone and their headsets. That makes it important that two people do not crowd the microphone at the same time. They cancel out each other and makes it difficult for the court interpreters to interpret and the court reporters to report. So keep in mind the need to pause for 5 seconds. It's very important. Also, the need to speak at a moderate pace. Don't speak too fast. That makes the work difficult as well. So speak at a moderate pace, not too slow in a way that also, we'll stay here forever. Just a moderate pace would be what we ask. The prosecutor has informed me that he has advised you about your responsibility to speak the truth, and that it's an offense to speak, to tell falsehoods after you promise to tell the truth and things like that. So I will not be taking you through that matter. So just keep in mind the need to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you have promised and solemnly declared to do. Thank you very much. We will have about 20 minutes of questioning to you in this session, and Mr. Garcia will start. Mr. Garcia, you of course organize your questioning so that those that necessarily need to be in private session are kept together. Thank you. Witness, thank you very much again.
Indeed, Your Honor. I'd ask for the assistance of the court officer to distribute the CV, PIS of the witness. Your Honors, I'd also ask for a private session of about 10 minutes to go through information in the CV regarding the witness.
Private session.
All rise. Puis vous levez. Please be seated. Wave us.
Thank you very much, witness. Welcome back. Mr. Garcia, we are in open session.
Private session before we proceed.
Your Honors, I'd ask that we go into private session. I think we left off on private session, and then I can go into public session afterwards.
But how much more time do you want to remain in private session?
2 minutes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll go to private session.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, please.
Now, Mr. Witness, in regards to this day, the 26th of December, 2007, can you please tell the court what you did upon awakening that morning? When you first woke up, what did you do?
I went straight away from the house to the city center or town center, where it is a public place, and stay there. But during that day, there was a lot of activities taking on, especially the people around the town marching and waiting for the activity that is going on that day.
Right. And exactly what activity were they waiting for?
Actually, it was like the last day before the election. And actually the transportations of the ballot papers and many other voting materials should have to take place that particular day.
All right, and just so that we can understand that, who was doing the transportation of the ballot papers on that day?
Of course, it has to be official of the Electoral Commission of Kenya, ECK.
Remember the 5-second pauses.
Okay.
So I understand from your testimony that the ballots were being transported to different polling stations within your region?
Yes, I think so. It is to the nearest polling station, nearest, because it cannot be taken directly until the following morning, but to the nearest collecting stations.
Now, what were you doing in town, in Eldoret town, in the city center on that day?
Of course, my daily stay in town is always, I've been there always, but actually for that particular day, we were staying there for the events that is taking place, and especially concerning political activities which are supposed to take place at particular time or day.
Can you tell us a bit about what political activities were supposed to take place on this day, on the 26th of December, 2007?
Like preparations of the what a political party which I was having that particular, or every individual would have, having some preparing for the readiness for the election.
Now, what did you observe on that particular day?
during morning hours, there was a rumor which already took place all over that there is a ballot papers which might be coming out, transported from Nairobi to the areas which might be used for the rigging of the elections.
Now, you said that there was a rumor. Where did this rumor come from? Do you know that?
And of course, by the public and many individual political leaders, and mainly it was announced on the radios that people should take care or to be prepared to protect, to make sure that they look on it.
Now, when you say it was the radio, can you be a little bit more precise? What radio?
Mr. President, can I just clarify? The answer was on the radios, plural.
And Mr. Witness, when you say on the radios, can you be more precise?
When I say radios, we have we have national radios which actually could not be used, but there was a particular language radio stations, and I could say, yeah, the radio stations that I always listening is what I could understand very well. That is Chamgay and also KSFM.
Applying to the word vernacular language radio stations.
Most grateful, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Witness, you mentioned Chamgay and KSFM. On which radio station did you hear these rumors on?
As a Kalenjin, I could switch every time to both of them because these listeners who might call in to express their dissatisfactions about how the election might be rigged, and especially KSFM.
What radio station, so you say especially KSFM, what did you hear on KSFM?
There was announcements in the morning that people should be ready to see that actually they could block the roads because there are some vehicles which might carry the ballot papers to the wrong ballot papers to the areas.
Now, do you recall, Mr. Witness, who on KSFM was saying this? You don't actually need to refer to the document before you, but if you have an answer, you can give it.
Joshua, thanks.
Now, can you tell the court if you recall if Mr. Sang was saying this generally, or was it on a show? Can you tell us that?
I think it was in the morning when he was announcing that we heard that there is some vehicle which are carrying the fake ballot papers, so people be alert on that. I think it was in the morning show, but I stayed there until only around 8, and then I could not listen again.
And in the morning, do you remember what the name of the program was in which this was announced?
I think on that particular day, Sang was at the radio stations, and I think his only morning programs is Lene Mates, but I can't remember exactly what was the program.
Now, can you tell us this program, Lene Met, from what time to what time did it used to run?
It was around 6:30 to almost 10 o'clock in the morning.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think from your testimony you're saying that you heard at 8 o'clock in the morning. Is that correct?
If I say that, around 8 o'clock.
And on that particular morning you had heard the program from what time to what time?
Morning hours, and then after 8 I went down.
And when you say morning hours, it's from what hour to what hour?
Already, waking up time is always 6:30 and to 8.
Mr. Garcia, the correction that was made, line 15, should be done by questions, not by leading ones.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Yes, proceed. Next time that sort of thing happens.
Now you say, Mr. Witness, that there was an announcement in the morning that people should be ready.
Yes.
And that you had heard there is a vehicle that is carrying the fake ballot papers, so people be alert on that.
Mm-hmm.
Witness, remember to say yes or no. Yeah, things like that don't work with a transcript.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, could you explain to us exactly what was the message that was being conveyed when you say people be alert on that? What exactly was meant?
It was say that. Repeat again the question.
You mentioned in your response, I think it was in the morning when he was announcing, we heard there is a vehicle that is carrying the fake ballot papers, so people be alert on that. So my first question is, what people was he referring to?
Supporters of those who are listening to the radio.
And when you say supporters, these are people of what ethnicity?
Because he was talking in Kalenjin, must be Kalenjin community.
And you said that he would have said, people be alert on that. What did that mean to you when you listened to that?
Because if there is a rumor that vehicles are carrying the papers and going towards the region, then people should be called to the road to if need be, to block those vehicles from bringing those ballot papers to the area.
Now, was there any mention about what type of vehicles?
Monolines, shuttles, which is public transport vehicles, and also some buses called city hoppers.
City hoppers, you said?
Yes.
Now, in regards, Mr. Witness, to this Molo lines, what can you tell us about Molo lines vehicles?
It is, the way I understand, this vehicle is, I think, play the routes of Nairobi Eldoret and some other routes. I cannot explain at the moment, but which I know is playing Eldoret Nairobi.
Do you know who owned this Molo line vehicles?
I don't know exactly, but the rumor is that it's owned by Kikuyu.
And when you say a rumor is, where did you hear this rumor?
It's speculations that this vehicle is owned by Kikuyu.
And as for city hoppers, do you know what people of what ethnicity own that line?
Also, I heard that it's owned by Kikuyus, especially former MPs and MPs from central Kenya.
Now, you also said in response to my question that there was an announcement in the morning that people should be ready to see that actually they could block roads because there are some vehicles which might carry the ballot papers to the wrong ballot papers to the areas. Now, what was it with these ballot papers? What was the rumors exactly? What was the problem with the ballot papers that were allegedly being brought in?
This was allegedly that it will be used to rig the elections. It is not going to be real ballot papers from the Electoral Commission, but fake ballot papers which can be used to rig election. I don't know how it will be done, but ballot papers to rig election.
And you also mentioned that there was a question of blocking the roads. Was there any mention of any specific roads?
Yeah, like Eldoret, Nairobi roads, Kabarnet, Iten, Eldoret roads, all roads, through Kerichos. That is areas with you I can understand is areas mainly populated by Kalenjin communities.
I'd like us just to go through those. How many main roads are there leading into Eldoret?
There is Iten.
Let's take them one by one. So Iten, I-T-E-N.
Iten, I-T-E-N.
All right. And what is
Road, yeah.
So the Iten Eldoret Road. I'd ask you to just wait a couple of, at least 5 seconds after I ask my question so we don't have any problems in that regard. Now, second major road leading into Eldoret.
There is one Eldoret Kapsabet Kisumu Road.
So it's Eldoret, Kapsabet,
Yeah,
and the last place you mentioned is it?
Kisumu.
So it's K-I-S-U-M-U. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are there any other major roads leading into Eldoret?
And of course, the one main road transits to Uganda, that is Nairobi Eldoret roads or Uganda Eldoret road.
All right. So just to be clear, there's a Nairobi Eldoret road, that's correct?
Yeah.
And you also mentioned a Uganda Eldoret road.
It is still the same route from Nairobi to Uganda, but I use it, the other line, Uganda, Eldoret, Uganda roads. It's also coming to the town from the other side.
Are there any other major roads leading into Eldoret?
There is none, no other but small roads.
Now, once you've heard this, you said you heard this rumor on CAS FM. Can you tell us what was the effect of that on the people?
I think the information inside the public much, and they occurred that most people came to the town to do what they have informed to do.
Line 8.
I'm sorry, Mr. Witness. Yes.
1 second. Line 8. The word inside is somewhere in there. Saying, I think the information inside, quoting and unquoting, the people much.
I think it was the public much, but I can ask the witness. Mr. Witness, just to be clear, I think I heard the word. I think I heard you say that the information had incited the public. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And you say that most people came to town to do what they are informed to do. That's correct?
Of course.
Now, when you say that, the
Be careful
information...
leading. Is that correct? The judge already warned you earlier.
Your Honor, I'm reciting the answer of the witness just to be clear that what's on the record is accurate. So it is leading, but just for that precise purpose.
Ms. Bousman, that was different from the admonition given Ms. Garcia the last time. The last time was where the witness's subsequent answer appeared to have been different from what he had said before. And Mr. Garcia directly corrected it. That's what I said. That needed to be done with questions. But on this occasion where the information had already been given and counsel is bringing it back in, as indicated earlier, that wasn't precisely what I had in mind the last time. Let's proceed.
Now, Mr. Witness, can you explain to us and give us more details on how this incited the public? Can you explain that to us?
I have explained that people were excited that ballot papers will be bringing to Eldoret, and people were actually having that information. And they were ready to block the roads or to do some rioting in the town and to make sure that those ballot papers will not reach Eldoret.
And you're mentioning the people here, and these are people of what ethnicity, Mr. Witness?
The people who are complaining actually at that particular time were mainly Kalenjins and mainly supporters of the Orange Democratic Movement, which is also the main tribes which were supporting the ODM were Luas, Luias, and some other tribes.
And just to be clear on that last response, Mr. Witness, when you say that the people were incited, what was the predominant tribe or ethnic group that was incited because of what was being said on the radio on CAS?
That is Kalenjins.
And just one more clarification, Mr. Witness, just in regards to the supporters of the ODM, what were the ethnic groups that were supporting the ODM at that point in time, in 2007?
Mainly, main supporters of nearly all tribes could not have supported a particular party, but main supporters of ODM by then were Kalenjins and Luas from Nyanza, and they are living also in Eldoret.
Now, you also said that most people came to town to what they are informed to do. Can you explain that a bit more? What did the people come to town to do?
People from the villages around areas could come to town to block the roads or to hear from people who are, because town is populated area and many people could be there so that they can do some action when they are in groups.
And when you say to do what they are informed to do, who was informing them to do this?
I heard Sang talking, using his radio station to announce that, and that's what I. Also, there was public. There was a personal car which was mounted a loudspeaker on it, and some two people were announcing on it that letters Breti, and it was going around Eldoret town.
So we're going to get to that in a minute. I'd like to know what were your observations on the ground in Eldoret Center after you had heard on CAS FM Mr. Sang saying these things, the rumors about the ballots.
Anything. Information was that people were actually having a belief that the election will be rigged, and now they were ready to use all their available means to stop it not to happen.
And when you say that people were ready to use all available means, when you're talking about people, you're speaking about people of what ethnicity?
I don't want to mention a particular community all the time, but I say mainly supporters of the ODM by then, and which I say Kalenjin were in majority, and Luos and some other tribes.
Now, you yourself, while you're in town in Eldoret on that day, what did you observe? Did you see any people?
Yes, I saw many people were running from another street to another, but listening, running and saying, okay, causing some fracas in town. Sort of like a protest in town.
And once again, I have to ask you, when you're saying people who are running from one street to another, these are people, were you able to tell us what ethnicity they were?
Just a few minutes ago, I tell you, majority, mainly Kikuyu, Luos and Kalenjins.
And when you're saying they were causing some ruckus, what were they doing exactly?
You say what?
You said that they were causing some ruckus in town.
Ruckus, yeah, making some burning tires and also running from street to street, making noises, singing some songs around the town.
I believe the word fracas. He said fracas. Both, we shouldn't quibble about pronunciation, but
I was reading from the transcript.
I thought that, but the first time I heard him, I thought the word would have been fracas.
I can clear it up with the witness, Your Honor. But,
I think he cleared it up now.
I think, yeah.
Yes.
You said as well that these people were doing a protest. Do you remember what they were protesting about?
About imminent wrecking, which is been announced by the leadership of ODM by then and some leaders and even at the radio.
I think the word at line 72, line 25 of page 72 is about rigging and not wrecking. Is that correct, Mr. Witness?
So correct.
And when you say that had been announced, about rigging that had been announced by the leadership of ODM by then, who are you referring to exactly in the leadership of ODM?
In the previous rallies before the elections, we could hear some leaders announcing that these people are planning to rig elections and they might see fire if they try to.
And what leaders are you referring to? What leaders within the ODM? Can you give us their name?
Majority were big leaders of the party.
All right, but what are their names?
What I've heard from them, as I say, the leadership of ODM, the presidential candidates was the Honorable Raila Odinga, and the Pentagon members were the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, Charity Ngilu, Najib Balala, and Honorable William Ruto.
that these people are planning to rig elections and they might see fire if they try to. When you're mentioning these people, or they were mentioning these people, who are they referring to?
The government or the PNU or Kikuyu in particular.
And which person in particular would have said this, that they will see fire?
I heard the Raila was maybe people are planning to rig, but he didn't talk much about it. But I heard Mheshimiwa Ruto saying that we heard that these people are planning to rig elections, and it talks in Swahili saying that watajaribu.
Can you translate for that for us? What did you hear him say?
I don't know really translate on that word. Maybe I can say they will see fire. Maybe that's what I use it.
Can you speak the Swahili words themselves slowly, one word at a time, so we can, Mr. Gessia will be writing, so will other people, see if we can capture the words themselves and read the words onto the record.
It could be useful as well, Your Honor, if we could just give the witness and he can write it. I think he might be much more comfortable and might be more efficient.
Good suggestion. Can the witness be given a sheet of paper and a pen, as we've done with the other witnesses?
Yes.
If I could possibly have that document, and I can actually read it into the transcript, or we can have it produced as an. Your Honor, I'm going to read it into the transcript, or we can have it more simple and just have it produced as an exhibit in the court record.
Read it onto the transcript, so if you can.
Yes, well, I'm going to spell it out, actually. So the first word is T-U-N-A, and Mr. Witness, you can correct me if I make a mistake at any point. So first word is T-U-N-A, second word S-I-K-I-A, third word, W-A-N-A-T-A-K-A. Fourth word, K-U-I-B-A. Fifth word is K-U-R-A. Sixth word is W-A-J-A-R-I-B-U. Seventh word is W-A-T-A-K-I-O-N-A. And the last word is C-H-E-M-C-H-A K-U-N-I. Is that correct, Mr. Witness?
Yes.
Can you say it again yourself, witness?
Tunasikia wanataka ipakura wajaribu watakiona chemchema kuni.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Witness, we will come back on that later on in your testimony. For the moment, I'd like us to go back, and you were saying that there was you also mentioned that there was a personal car with loudspeakers. What can you tell us about that?
Mr. President, before that, I wonder if the note written by the witness can just be shown as a courtesy to the defence.
Yes, please. Looks like we'll have to put that thing into the record, after all.
Indeed. Thank you.
All right, let's put it onto the record as prosecution exhibit.
The document produced by the witness KenOTP P08 will bear the number EVD TOTP 00249. The document will get an ERN number and will be uploaded in a court a posteriori.
Thank you very much. Please proceed.
Now, Mr. Witness, you mentioned a personal car with loudspeakers. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, it was going round announcing the same information, that there were some vehicles. Let us gather together around to make sure that we block such vehicles from. And I don't know if I can mention their names or one of their names who are in this vehicle. Or
I will be asking you the question. So just to be clear, because I'm seeing here that it's unclear at page 76, line 14, this vehicle was going around where?
Eldoret town. Sometimes goes beyond Eldoret, taking route of Kapsabit or E10 roads.
Now, while it was going around Eldoret.
Yes.
Now, you said that there were loudspeakers on this vehicle.
Yeah.
Were they being used? And more specifically, what was being announced by this vehicle on the loudspeakers?
People to go around to make sure that they blocked, they make sure that they could block these coming vehicles from entering the town, bringing fake ballot papers.
And just to be clear as well, when you're saying block these vehicles, what vehicles were
Shuttles.
Now, did you recognize that vehicle that was going around with the loudspeakers?
Yes.
I'd ask you just be mindful of the 5-second delay from my question to your responded yes to that. What can you tell us about the vehicle that was going around?
I can't remember the number of the vehicle, but I think it was, if I'm not wrong, it was a Nissan dark blue in color or something like that. I cannot remember very well. And if I say the number, maybe it was KG 600Q, but I'm not sure about it.
Now, you're referring to the number plate on the vehicle?
Yes.
And what we have here on the transcript is KG 600Q.
Yeah.
KG 600Q.
Yes.
KG or KAG or KH.
G.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. So it's KAG 600Q.
Yes.
Now, had you ever seen this vehicle before?
Yes.
Where had you seen this vehicle before?
In Eldoret.
Do you know who it belonged to?
It belongs to Mheshimiwa Honorable William Ruto.
Now, you say you had seen it in Eldoret prior to that. Can you tell us about in what context or what circumstances you had seen this vehicle? In what context had you seen this vehicle before that day?
It was only, I knew it as a personal vehicle of Mheshimiwa, but I don't know beyond that point.
But tell us how many times before you had seen this vehicle?
No time, but I cannot tell how many times.
I'm sorry, we didn't hear because obviously I asked you the question and you didn't wait till 5 seconds, but the question was how many times before had you seen...
Wait.
Just 1 minute. Mr. Witness, take your time. Wait a couple of seconds. I know you want to answer the question, and then answer.
I'm saying several times. I cannot remember the times, which I can specifically say how many times.
And how do you know that it belonged to Mr. Ruto?
Because I'm always seeing, I sometimes see him in that vehicle, and the drivers is drivers.
Now, on that particular day, on the 26th of December, who was in the vehicle?
There is one person I cannot know his name, but he's a proud man. But another guy was David Maswai.
Mr. President, I wonder if you could clarify if the witness said at line 15, proud man or brown man?
And also, was it another car or another guy? Witness, see what appears from the transcript. I want you to listen carefully and see and tell us what you're saying. But you are reported as saying, quote, there is one person I cannot know his name, but he is a proud man, but there was another car that was David Maswai.
No, I'm meaning the driver of this third vehicle was a brown guy. Brown man, if I can use man.
Brown.
Yeah, brown.
As in the color brown.
Yes.
Okay.
But the person who are with him in the same vehicle is called David Maswai.
All right. By brown man, you mean he was light in complexion
Yes.
as an African,
Yes.
but a lighter complexioned person?
Yes.
Thank you. Proceed, please.
I see that the spelling is correct for David Maswai. Now, Mr. Witness, can you tell us how the people were reacting to this vehicle going around and saying these things?
Because it was making an announcement, people were listening to it, and they follow it from behind to go the direction where they announce it.
And in which direction were they heading?
Around 11, they were heading to
You can simply say it, Mr. Witness. You don't need to repeat.
Eldoret Police Station.
Now, this person that you've identified as Mr. David Maswai, can you tell us what ethnicity he is?
He's a Nandi.
Had you ever seen him previously?
Yes, I've been seeing him. I know him.
Can you tell us if he had other occupation at the time?
I don't know if he was still working, but he was formerly working with Kenya Post and Telecommunications and Eldoret.
Now, you say that the vehicle was heading over to the police station. What police station would this be?
Eldoret Police Station.
And what happened afterwards?
I do apologise, Mr. President. My learned friend has had details, listed details of David Maswai, but it would be useful, as we've talked about two individuals in the car, to have on record anything about the brown man, whether or not the brown man has been seen before. It would be useful to have that in chief, because it clearly is relevant. Grateful.
I'll leave that to Mr. Garcia.
Now, Mr. Witness, can you tell us what happened afterwards? You saw this vehicle with loudspeakers making announcements, people as well. What happened afterwards? What did you observe?
I've clarified that people, after announcing this, there is really ballot papers, there is some vehicles which are coming toward Eldoret, so they just run towards the main road from Nairobi to see if that vehicle is coming, actually carrying the ballot papers.
And just to give us an idea about how many people were running towards the main road going to Nairobi, wait a couple of seconds before you answer.
That one I could not count, because to so many people, like in town, you cannot count people because it's a town, so many people.
Just so we get an idea, is it more or less than 500 people?
I think it cannot be even 500. It can be much more. It's a town, and you know a town, if anything happens, many people will come. You cannot count them. It's in 1,000, I think so. It's more than 1,000, even I can say. No, it's even 5,000 or 3,000 or so.
Just before we move on to another question, these people that you saw running towards the main road, do you know from where they came from?
They were already in town, in different locations in town, and they were running up and down in town, in the streets of Eldoret.
Were these people, from your knowledge, were these people from Eldoret?
Because I think from the surrounding villages and mainly from the town. Luos are from the town and some of the Kalaji from the town, but majority were coming from the nearby areas.
Mr. President, can I say it's very difficult for me to follow this. I think one critical question is missing that we're entitled to. Where is the witness when he's seeing these different things? Is he in one location or different? And, Your Honours, in my respectful submission, of course these can be clarified in cross-examination. But, Your Honours, it's only right that the prosecution elicit this evidence. Otherwise, we can't follow the evidence that the witness is giving. We're seeing these snapshots, but we can't tie it together with his own movements. So the normal question, of course, is what did you see, where are you, or the other way around, and in relation to each item that the witness has given evidence about. And I'd ask that my learned friend do that so that the record is clear and so that we can prepare cross-examination and understand it.
And just if I may as well, at page 81, line 11, I think we need to clarify that because it says he was family working. I think that was formally working, but maybe I just took this moment.
The second observation is something different from the first one. Ms. Bousman once that if there is testimony, it needs to be clear on what it is saying in terms of what it actually says. But Mr. Khan's own concern is about making sure the storyline is clear to him. That I will not be compelling Mr. Garcia to do. It's his case to make, and he needs to be allowed to conduct his examination in chief. Anything that's not cleared up in that way will be up to cross-examining counsel to seek to clarify it if they want to. But for now, I will leave it up to Mr. Garcia. That's why I say some things are up to him to clear up. The question about the brown man, he said, I will be asking the witness some questions about that for your benefit, Mr. Ken, but I will not interrupt Mr. Garcia's flow to do that. Yes, but if he wants to...
I will clear that up, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Witness, just so we can get a clear picture of what's going on that day, when you're observing these things, you said you observed the crowd heading into the road, the Nairobi road. Where were you at this point?
I cannot say I was in a specific place because Eldoret Town is not a big area. I was in the street of Kenyatta Street at the corner and then following up from behind and towards that directions they are announcing. So it was in Kenyatta Street, also Kinga Street, so I cannot say I stayed in a specific place just to observe. I was just walking around.
All right, you say you were walking around, and in respect to the crowd, what were you doing?
I was just following what is, and I could hear also what is being announced from the vehicle, and also following up from behind, going toward the same directions there, and people were singing also. I was in following from behind.
And just to be even more clear, all these things that you've related to us, is this things that you've seen firsthand?
Yes, I see it in particular. I was in town until late in the evening that particular day.
All right. When we left off, you were speaking about this car with the loudspeakers that was heading towards the police station, if I'm right. What happened afterwards?
After these announcements by the vehicle and some time putting the sing Hallelujah songs during the round, when he was going around, they put even the song, that's Hallelujah song called Lewere. That is to mean that it's a funeral. I think it's a mourning song. People who mourn during they were singing that Lewere, Lewere.
All right.
And
just want to interrupt you for the minute, but just Luere, could you spell that for us, for the record?
I'm not a lawyer, but it's Luwer. Luere, Luere, Kwaheri Kibaki. Goodbye, Kibaki.
Okay, and what is the translation of what was being said in the song?
Luere, I don't know the meaning, but kwaheri is goodbye. Kibaki used to say goodbye to the former president of Kenya.
And you say that that is to mean a funeral. Can you explain that?
That
a mourning.
song is always sung by lawyers when during the funeral time when somebody has died. Yeah.
So at line 10 of page 86, the first word should be, that song is always sung by luyas when during the funeral times. Is that correct, Mr. Witness?
Yes.
Now, you said that you were following this crowd. What happened afterwards?
Actually, around 11 or 11 something in the morning, another car which belongs to the same company which was being announced, Molo Line, came in from the direction of Nairobi. And the people shouted it and they were following it from behind. It ran straight to the police station. And that was when the people say, now this is the vehicle we have been waiting for.
Now, you say that this car, which belongs to the Molo Line, arrived. Where were you when you first saw this Molo Line car arrive?
I was at the end of Kenyatta Street, which is opposite Municipal Council, head office by then, and also going toward the police stations.
So you were you able to observe the Molo Line shuttle
yes, because,
arrive?
Yes, I just see it, but by distance, but when I confirm, but it was just people shouting that there's a vehicle already entering this. I just follow from behind. I see it speeding up, but I didn't see it directly on the spot, but I was just seeing it ahead of where I was coming from.
Mr. President,
Witness, remember the pause. See, you often forget about the need to wait for 5 seconds after Mr. Garcia's finished asking the question. Keep that in mind always. Keep in mind, wait until he's finished. Wait, you see when he finishes, he will turn off his microphone. That's an indication that he has finished. And then you wait for 5 seconds and then you start answering.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Mr. Khan.
Mr. President, just a reminder to my learned friend, this aspect of the testimony is very much in dispute, and to remind him, of course, that we're grateful if he doesn't lead on any respect.
Has he led already?
Your Honour, I raise it in relation to one of the answers, one of the questions that he put forward.
Right, let's leave it at that. So,
Mr. Witness, when you speak about the Molo Line car, what kind of a car are we speaking about?
Public transport shuttle, Nissan.
Now, when this Molo Line shuttle arrived, what was the reaction of the people? Can you give us more details
Because
on that?
there was already announced that in the morning through KSFM and then through this vehicle, and also it was clear that this Molo Line might be having the ballot papers, the fake one.
All right. Now listen to my question. You say that you were there with the crowd. What was the reaction of the crowd upon seeing this Molo Line shuttle? And remember, take 5 seconds. Once I close my microphone, take your time and answer the question.
People were following it from behind the vehicle, and the driver actually was driving the cars with high speed, though at the safety side, because they were shouting on the vehicle that there it is. And the driver managed to enter into the police station in time. before they reach on him, yes, actually.
Just to be more clear, what were the people shouting?
They are saying there is a vehicle coming, this already monolined, so he's carrying the ballot papers. So people were actually convinced that it's the same vehicle who are carrying the fake ballot papers. And if they could catch him before that reach the station, maybe something else could happen. Maybe that vehicle could be burned down before even confirmed that it was carrying the fake ballot papers.
So just to correct, Your Honors, it's line 2 of page 89. I think it's the driver managed to enter into police station in time and not mentioned to enter. Did the driver indeed manage to enter? Now, just so we understand, the police now that police station or police department, how is it exactly? What is the configuration?
Like you.
Wait a minute, please. Was there an answer to the question ending at line 14?
I think the answer of the witness was yes. The question was whether the driver managed to enter the police station on time.
Right. Witness, you see what's happening is a lot of your evidence is being, we're having difficulty getting all of it on the transcript the first time. It's because of that 5-second rule. That's why we're having all these difficulties. So, right now the last answer was yes, but it didn't come in at all because you answered immediately. So try and observe the pauses, please.
Can you just, Mr. Witness, describe the police station for us, Eldoret Police Station?
In which way? Location or?
I understand you've mentioned that the driver managed to make his way or to enter the police station. Where did he go exactly in respect to the police station?
Just enter into the gate of police stations and drive to the behind of the police station and back there.
Now, Mr. Witness, you said at line 12, you said just into the something of police station. What was the word?
Into the police station. Gate.
Into the gate.
Into the gate.
Of police
Yes, he
station.
said
Yeah.
into the gate of the police station.
Yeah.
So the vehicle managed to get into the gate and parked in the back. What happened afterwards? Just remember the 5 seconds, Mr. Witness.
People actually were going toward the police station, and the same people in the vehicle were announcing that Mheshimiwa will be coming soon to the station, so that we can go and see together what is there.
Did you manage to see what happened to the driver of this Molo line?
I didn't reach there before. I didn't know him even in person because I was just seeing from behind. So I cannot say even what ethnicity or what. I just see the vehicle was smaller line.
The word
Mheshimiwa.
was that word Mheshimiwa?
Mheshimiwa is honorable.
Honorable.
Yeah.
And you were referring to who?
He was saying the Mheshimiwa will be coming. That is Honorable William Ruto.
Thank you. One second, please. The word has occurred in your testimony a few times. Is Mr. Ruto, or was he the only one to whom that word was used, Mheshimiwa? Or were there more than one persons who were referred to by that title or that reference?
Because I believe, but I cannot say, Honorable, the word Mheshimiwa is every person who is elected as a member of parliament or somebody who have been elected as a member of parliament who have such a title to be Mheshimiwa. But this, I think, people were referring exactly on Ruto, but because it was in his vehicle.
Thank you. Please proceed.
And just to be clear, Mr. Witness, when you say the same people in the vehicle were announcing that Mheshimiwa would be coming, what vehicle are we speaking about here?
AG 600Q. The person who was announcing was David Masoi, and the driver was the other car. He was brown.
Now, in regards
Did you say the other guy who was brown?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
He was a driver.
The driver?
Yeah.
All right.
Now, just before we move on, Mr. Witness, in regards to this other person, the driver, what do you know about? Do you know anything about him?
I know him as a driver of Mheshimiwa for quite a longer time.
Can you tell specifically of what sub-tribe he is?
Kalenjin.
Is it
Kalenjin.
Are we talking about the brown man?
Yes, indeed, Your Honor. So, Mr. Witness, now you left us off. The Molo line car had parked in the back. What happened afterwards?
After around 12 or somewhere there, actually, people were scattered at the stations, went to see what is inside the vehicle. But because it was police station anyway, there was a order. People were being announcing that anyway, let's wait and see first before we act on to see what is there in the vehicle.
What were they looking for in the vehicle?
They wanted to know if it was carrying fake ballot papers.
And while all of this is going on, where were you?
We are already in the station, not far from the police station. Not far from the police station, just opposite the police station.
Now, did the people get access to the Molo line car eventually?
Yes, after around, I don't remember the time, but somewhere before 1, the two honorables arrived and the meeting was in order, and then they were saying that they will go and see for themselves, accompanied by OCBD, to see if they could find the fake ballot papers, and then they could bring back the information to the people, to the public.
Now, you say that before 1, 2 honorables arrived. Who exactly arrived? Can you give us the names of the people?
It was the Honorable Enrico Skay of Dinrets and Honorable William Ruto of Eldoret North.
Line 21, the letters OCPD.
And, Your Honors, at line 25, it's Tinderet, Tinderet. Now, do you remember, Mr. Witness, how both Mr. Kosgei and Mr. Ruto arrived?
I can't remember the time, but between 12 there or somewhere before 1.
Going to be a little bit more clear on my question, but did you observe them? Did you see them arrive, Mr. Ruto and Mr. Kosgei?
Yes,
just take the 5 seconds, Mr. Witness. Just remember that. Take a couple of seconds right after I ask my question.
Yes, I saw them coming in by foot. They were not using the vehicles.
Do you remember from what direction they were coming?
I just seen them entering the station. I didn't know where they came from, maybe from the side of Uganda Road. So I just see them when they are already, and then people were shouting, Mheshimiwa, Mheshimiwa. Then I didn't know which direction, but though I was around there, no. Yeah.
And what happened afterwards?
The people were now trying to speak from the top of the car. And then some two councillors were the one who were controlling the public and talking. And later on, they gave it to the two honorables to talk, and then they went to see what was in the vehicle, accompanied by the OCPT.
All right. I'd just like to go back on that a bit. You've mentioned that two councillors were there. Who are these two councillors?
One was Farouk Kibet, a nominated councillor. And another one was Mutai. I can't remember his name, but it was called Mutai, former chairman. No, Wilson also, I cannot remember the other name, but Mr. Mutai.
Did you say Mr. Kibet was a nominated councillor?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Witness, in respect to when you saw Mr. Kosgei and Mr. Ruto arrive, when did these two councillors arrive? Can you tell us?
They were in the group of who were demonstrating from around 10 in the morning. So they didn't arrive, so they were with a group of the people in town.
Now, you said that there's some two councillors were the one who were controlling the public and talking, and later on they gave it to the two honorables to talk. Now, can you give us more details on that? Which one of the councillors was speaking?
I've only to mention the two councillors.
Now, you mentioned Mr. Kibet and Mr. Mutai. Which one of both started speaking? Do you recall that?
Farouk.
Do you recall exactly where he was when he was speaking?
At the top of this vehicle, KG 600Q.
Now, when Mr. Kibet was speaking, at what distance were you from him?
It was just opposite the same area. It's, you could listen to them, but the same area, just after the Damak. And there's a petrol station around there, so I was standing there.
And in terms of distance, if you look at this courtroom, where would Mr. Kibet have been in respect to you?
Or if it is longer than the courtroom, also keep that in mind.
I think Tamak is like this road, it's like this, the house from where you are now here, and then some few meters, 2 meters away from the road. So it's just like, if I can say, from here to where you are now, I can say maybe 8 meters or so.
So from where you were sitting in the witness seat,
where I was standing.
You want to get on the record the distance estimate, and you say the distance is approximate to between where you are sitting as a witness and where I am sitting now.
Yes.
All right.
And maybe another 2 meters away from where you are, behind you.
And 2 more meters behind me.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say, Your Honor, that would maybe be 8, 9 meters, approximately. I'm not.
Fair enough, but we get the point.
Now, Mr. Witness, are you able to recall what Mr. Kibet would have said on that day?
He was referring anyway to the Kikuyu, who were actually having their leaders in Wasingishu, and say that these people should inform Kibaki that they will not steal the vote from us. And he was mentioning that OCBD by then was a Kikuyu, and the DC was a Kikuyu, and he was mentioning several Kikuyus. That is to say that Kikuyus must see, and they will have to go. They will not steal our vote.
Did you say anything else?
I just talked that way, and then the people wanted to give the other councillor pick it up, and then before he could talk few words. Then the public wanted to Mheshimiwa to talk. They didn't give him more chance to talk, the second councillor. But he was just saying, we have to go and see what is there in the vehicle.
Now, you started out by saying that he was referring anyway to the Kikuyu who were actually having their lead, their leaders in Uasin Gishu. Can you explain that to us?
By then, actually, the majority of, especially the officer commanding divisions, who was OCBD by then, was a Kikuyu. And then the DC was a Kikuyu. I don't remember, somebody else was a Kikuyu. And so Farouk was actually angry to show that Kikuyus actually, especially Kibaki, was not balancing. He's just making his people, Kikuyus, to be in positions. And what was the reaction of the crowd to what Mr. Kibet was saying? Remember the 5 seconds, Mr. Witness. Because he was saying Kikuyus must go, the group was supporting, saying yes, they must go. You were listening to him. They say when Farouk say Kikuyus must go. And when Mr. Kibet was saying that they will not steal the vote from us, do you know why he was saying that? Because the message which was there was that rigging is going to happen. So they were saying Kikuyus will not rig elections. Yeah. Now you said...
Sorry, Mr. President, I don't want to interrupt, but and I may be wrong, but at page 98, between lines 7 and 11, what I noted is not recorded, and I thought the witness said that Farouk was complaining that Kibaki was not balancing his positions. I thought I heard the word balancing his positions, and I don't see that in the transcript unless I'm mistaken. It says inaudible. I don't know if that's the bit that's missed, but I thought I'd rise to raise the point.
Mr. Witness, can you help us with that? Did Mr. Kibet say something about Mr. Kibaki not balancing his positions?
That's exactly what Kant said.
Thank you, Mr. Witness, for that. Now, Mr. Witness, you mentioned that Mr. Kibet was a... can you explain to us who he was at that time? Did he have any specific functions?
I was just saying that he was a nominated councillor, and there was no specific functions. It was depending how we'll talk first, and Farouk, because he was a councillor, get opportunity to talk.
And he was a councillor for what party? What party was he supporting at that point in time?
He was Kanu.
Now, you say he was a nominated councillor for what area?
A nominated councillor doesn't have a specific area, but is representing the whole county.
Which county would that be?
It was Wareng County.
So it's W-A-R-E-N-G, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us since what year he had been nominated councillor for that area?
He was nominated immediately after the election of 2002.
And can you tell the court who nominated him to that position?
I cannot know exactly who nominated him, but his political party can.
Your Honor, I see the time.
I will crave everyone's indulgence, but let's go on for another 15 minutes.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Witness, after Mr. Kibet...
One second, please. And we will leave it just like, just to be sure, so you cannot take it beyond that. For the past 5 minutes.
Me?
In 15 minutes, we'll be done, and that's it.
That's fine.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Witness, after Mr. Kibet, who spoke?
Mutai, the Councillor Mutai.
And can you tell us something about Mr. Mutai? What ethnicity was he?
Nandi.
And at that point in time, what political party was he supporting?
By then, he was a councillor of Kanu, but already the people have shifted from Kanu to ODM, a movement which was started in 2005, and then which was also a political party who was competing with the other parties.
So at that point in time, in 2007, on the 26th of December, what political party was he supporting, Mr. Mutai, to your knowledge?
Orange Democratic Movement.
Now, do you recall what Mr. Mutai would have said on that day?
He just talked a few words that we have to see. We must see what was in the vehicle, and said maybe they must have taken it somewhere else, not in the vehicle. And then the public were not listening to him anymore. They wanted to give it to the Weshimiwa, the microphone.
And what happened after that?
I can't remember very well, but Weshimiwa was given a chance to speak, Honorable William Ruto, and it was just said to people to be patient, and they will go and see themselves what is there. Then they will come to tell them.
Was you able to tell us exactly what Mr. Ruto would have said on that day?
I can't remember exact word, but he was telling people to be patient a little bit. Watu watulie, waende kuangalia what was inside the vehicle, and then they could come back to tell them. And that is exactly what also Honorable Koske repeated, and then they went together with OCPD.
And at that time, the OCPD, you said, was a person of Kikuyu ethnicity. Do you remember his name?
I can't remember his name exactly, but if I can still remember, it's called Mr. Kalistas Kakuru or somewhere there. I can't remember very well.
So what happened afterwards, Mr. Witness?
After they go and confirm that there was nothing in the vehicle, really, it was just a transport vehicle. They just came and announced to the people, but the people were not convinced. that there was nothing. So they just assumed that maybe there was no truth about it. Maybe they was eaten by some police officers or whatever. But anyway, they decided to move from that place to another location.
Mr. President, before we go on, the witness had helpfully given in Swahili some words. It hasn't been recorded in the transcript, and like we've done previously, I'd asked that the witness be requested to put it on a piece of paper, the exact words he said he heard Mr. Ruto say when he says that he said people to be patient a little bit. So, Your Honour, the Swahili words should be recorded as well for the record. They were uttered, but I couldn't write them down.
1 second. Unless, if nothing turns on it, we can move on. If it is something that you really feel must be cross-examined upon, then we can do that. No,
Your Honour, we can leave it.
yes, thank you.
And
Mr. Garcia, the witness wanted to add something. Do you want to continue or give him the chance to do that?
Certainly, I'd rather give the witness a chance if he wants to add some clarification.
to mean that what the Mr. Kenneth just said.
It's all right. Let's not.
Okay.
If it's the Swahili word,
Okay.
we can move on. Yes. Proceed.
No, Mr. Witness, just before we move on, you stated that initially that Mr. Kibet spoke, Mr. Mutai. Do you know where Mr. Ruto or Mr. Ruto was when Mr. Kibet was speaking?
They was just arrived from where they came from. I don't know where, and they were in the same. They were just in the area.
When you say they were in the area, in respect to where
Around police station, around that police, Eldoret police station.
I understand that Mr. Kibet was speaking in the car, or on the car. Where was Mr. Ruto at that point?
They were just standing by next to the car.
And can you tell us, if there was any reaction on the part of Mr. Ruto to what Mr. Kibet was saying?
I can't explain because I told you I was 808 meters away. So, but the reaction was that people were chat, were really angry. What is going on? They were supporting what Mr. Kibet was saying, but I cannot say I don't know the reaction of Mheshimiwa because I was not standing next to him.
Just to be clear for the record, Mr. Witness, at page 104, line 13, you said, I told you I was 808 meters away. Which one of the three?
No, I say 8 meters. That's I said before. That's a confusion.
Thank you for that, Mr. Witness.
Yeah.
Now, just in regards to Mr. Kibet, can you tell us if he had any other functions at that point in time in 2007?
I've just said he was a councillor, and I cannot explain further his function. As a councillor, he has so many responsibilities.
And to your knowledge, apart from councillor, did he do anything else?
I cannot explain that. I cannot know.
Could you tell us what, if any, was his relationship with Mr. Ruto?
Because he usually being with him, and I think by being his area of parliament, and he is the one. I think he's very close to him. I can say that, but I cannot say have any relationship. But they have. I think I don't know which word I can use, as friends or political. They are in the same political party. What I cannot sort specifically his relationship.
I understand that, Mr.
Biden. I say Biden.
I understand your answer, Mr. Witness, but you said that I think is very close to him.
Yes, they were together all the time.
And when you say they were together all the time, can you give us examples of times they were together that you would have seen?
Yes, whenever any function Mheshimiwa is around, he's also Farouk is there, and he's talking as a councillor, and I think his most councillor who is, I think, is very close to Mheshimiwa, the way I can see that.
Okay. What makes you think that he's very close to Mr. Ruto?
Depending on the function they are together, I think he was the one who proposed him for nomination, to be nominated to council. And that is makes me to believe that he is a very close person to him.
Did you say you think he is the one who nominated? Who nominated whom?
Who nominated Farouk to the council.
That Mr. Ruto nominated Mr.
Yes, so it was through a political party, which he was then a Secretary General of the party, National Secretary General.
And you said you think. What made you think that?
Because I cannot specifically say he was the one nominating him, but I say that I think, because I just assume he is the one who nominated him.
You said that you had seen them together. Since when had you seen them together at functions?
I cannot explain the time, because all the time that since I know Farouk, I was seeing with Mheshimiwa.
And since when do you know Farouk? Approximately what year? I'm not searching for a month or a day. Approximately what year?
From 97, 96, I used to know him. Yeah.
And when you say that you would see them together at functions, what type of functions would you see them at?
We have Harambes, we have any development projects that is taking place, many other things that is going on, even political rallies. Yes.
And when you would see them together at these functions, what was Mr. Kibet doing?
Initially, he was talking as a councillor, and yes, contributors as a councillor, and many other things that he could do as a leader. Yeah.
And you're saying Mr. Ruto would have been there also at the same time as Mr. Kibet at these functions?
Yes.
And when you say that he is very close, you use those words to Mr. Ruto, what is that based on?
Based on their closeness, where you can see them all the time, and also his nomination, you can hear the speculation that he was nominated by him, by Mheshimiwa.
And now when you say their closeness, what would they do together?
No, political activities and many other things.
I see the time, Your Honor.
Yes, we have to rise now. Witness, we will be adjourning for the day now, and we will reconvene tomorrow at 9:30. You meet us then. Please do not discuss your testimony with anybody overnight. Counsel you appointed to assist you may discuss specifically the Rule 74 matters if he needs to do that, but he needs to get leave from the chamber to do that. So we will rise now and see you tomorrow, but we'll go first into closed session to usher the witness out.